so you don't need any special paper. This is just an A4 printing paper, really. So let's start. So first of all, we start with a circle. Really don't worry if it's not a proper shaped circle at first instance. You see, I can't draw circles, but at the end it kind of ends up being a circle, right? So you just let your hand draw. This is this size of circle, so when you put your little finger there, that's how big it should be, roughly, but really don't worry if it's not the same size. If you need some help, you can use a cup or a glass. You just draw around, and then you can also measure, but it's really not necessary. It can be really freely done, you know, like old times women, they just used to draw with freehand. So we divided it into two now, and then draw another circle in the middle. It's gonna be our main flower, actually, which is almost comes up to the middle, just slightly below the middle of the bigger circle, and then we draw two smaller ones. So now it looks like a weird face of someone who's just shouting a huge O with a mouth. Quite funny. And then when you're done, you put a third eye to this little face. So you basically just structured your bouquet of flower. So let's give shapes to these ones. First of all, we just link them. So this is how we link. So this is so now you can see it's like three flowers, and this is the top one, which is just a little bit of rose, I think, which we put in the middle, and then two forget-me-nots on the side. Just little circles again. No worries if it's not all the same size. It's roughly the same size, that's fine. And then another one. So it has to be kind of symmetrical. If it's not perfectly symmetrical, you see this one is a tiny bit higher than this one, but don't worry, really. And then a little leaf on the top. Okay, another one here, because we like leaves. Bucket of flowers has leaves. And then this is our main flower. So again, another circle here. And then we start to shape our flowers. I really like tulips, so I'm gonna draw a tulip here. We have to think about like how it's going to be embroidered, because that's the main object of this drawing. So if it's too big, this part to embroider, because we will embroider like this, we can just divide it into two, so that's easier for our needles and thread to go through. So this is the tulip now, and then we just round it up with two petals there, just so that it looks nice and really tulip shaped. And just add two leaves here, so that this is not too many flowers. We don't like too many flowers, but too many leaves would be also it's good to find a balance. So that's how it looks like now, our little flower. So have a look. That's how it should look like. So now I quite like 4B pencils, so I'm going to use 4B. I don't know if I can be seen. Anyway, and then we can start to kind of trace around so that it gets a better shape, so that we can then trace it on a white fabric. So now you can work on your proper circles like this. So you trace around your forget-me-nots, and then you trace around the leaves as well. So we kind of almost done here. You can see now the bucket of flowers, sorry. So what we need to do now, what I like is I like the 4B pencils because it's slightly bit less harder, softer. So what I would suggest now is we trace around our drawing, so we just kind of give a finer shape of our tulip, like this, so that it's easier to trace around when we put the light fabric on the top. So we trace our leaves as well. I mean, we should try to keep the leaves slightly symmetric if we can. And then the forget-me-nots as well. You see, it's almost done, so our little drawing is almost done. So we chase around. Don't worry if you see I correct myself all the time. I can't draw actually. So this is also a flower on the top, and then the 2 leaves on the 2 sides. So fairly symmetric. So this is our drawing. Don't worry about these extra lines, because when we go through with the fabric, you won't really realize that how it was before. So that's how it is. What you can do now, and what I usually do is when it's all traced around, I tend to kind of just with the rubber just slightly rub it out, but it's really not necessary either. What I quite like, and that's why I thought a marker would be handy. It can be any marker. Sorry, I put something underneath not to trace by accident my lovely fabric tablecloth. So what I do is I mark it around. Maybe that's even better than just draw around with a pencil, because then it's even easier to see through when we trace this onto our fabric. So I suggest after you're done with your pencil, so you traced around with your pencil or every flowers, you just go through with a marker as well. So this is going to be our final drawing. So really accurately, if you can, please try to trace around your flowers. Here it is. If it's not exact, that's fine. It doesn't have to be really precise, you know, because all the time we mean not everyone could draw, you know, and then it doesn't matter, because the embroidery will be still really beautiful. You will see when we end up at the end, it's gonna be really nice. So this is the middle one. Here it is. So we have the flowers now. What we need to do, we need to have the fabric ready as well. So as we traced around with a marker, it can be seen really well. So it's gonna be so easy to trace it. You will see. So that's how we're gonna do it. Of course, all times women didn't do like this, but because we don't have the equipment, and it's just easier for everyone. So we just place the fabric on the top, and then with the pencil we can go through like this. Just try to hold the fabric down, but as I mentioned in the preparation, it has to be, the best is to have a 100% cotton fabric, so that it's easy to hold it down. It's not an elastic. Elastic would be difficult, but this one is much easier. And then we just trace it around the little flowers. Here you are. We are almost done. It's still flexible, you see, so if you don't like the shape of the leaf, you can always just shape it in another way, that's fine. So it is done. Maybe I would have put this more in the middle. You see, nothing is traced in stones. No, it's all done now. We can start the embroidery.